Welcome along. This is episode 117 of Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs, and you are looking very summery. Welcome along, and I'm glad you're here because we can start. I'm just going to talk briefly in this episode about kind of where I am. I think I'm at a bit of a crossroads, having just released an album. We'll just do a brief recap, and with new music on the horizon, I've taken a bit of a chance, and I want to talk you through kind of, as I've always said from the beginning, this is an adventure. I don't know from the beginning kind of where this whole career in music is going. I promise to share it with you. So full disclosure coming up right after this. So look, this is where I'm at here on episode 117. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoy coming on this adventure with me as much as I enjoy being on the adventure myself, then do subscribe and follow, because I like subscribers. Each and every one of you. I love all of you. That sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Okay, we'll edit that out a little bit later. This is where I'm at. Okay, so I have just released my fifth album. I'm very proud to say I've released my fifth album. It's a good album. I'm happy with it. I'm always proud of stuff that I've released, and I think if you release stuff and you're not proud of it, I don't know. That's not a very good situation to be in. So look, I'm happy with it. It brings me some kind of internal satisfaction, and I hope people continue to go and listen to my music and like it. And I guess from the beginning, I've always said, I want to see development between each album. I want people to be able to see that maybe the songwriting is getting better, maybe the performances are getting better, maybe my guitar playing is getting a bit better, the production's getting better, all that kind of stuff. So, I'd like people to kind of be able to see some movement, progress between each album. Okay, so that's fine. I think the problem has been the marketing. See, so I've got into a thing where quite a number of the tracks from 5, I went through through a process of putting a bit of money behind each one of them, and they all seem to kind of get to. I mean, it was never a plan, but this is just sort of how it's worked out. They all seem to basically, on average, reach somewhere around 60,000, maybe a bit more, but somewhere in that region of Spotify streams. And that's great. Great, lovely. If you translate that into actual earnings, which is really best not to do because it's just depressing, I don't know, it's nothing much. It's a few quid. And, across the whole year, I think I'm probably earning less than £1,000 from Spotify. I'm probably spending more in marketing than I'm ever getting back. So, it's not like I'm in it for the money, because that just would be crazy. My return on investment is sort of, in quite serious minus figures. So that's not what it's about. But I guess there is a frustration around not reaching a kind of a wider audience, and you kind of think the whole point about this is to try and find an audience somewhere, a significant enough audience somewhere that kind of can sustain you, or at least that that you've actually found some people who like what you do. So this is the important bit. I was watching, as I often do, a YouTube video about marketing, and there are millions out there, just the same as there are lots and lots around music production. There are lots and lots about how to get more Spotify streams, or why you shouldn't bother with Spotify, all that kind of stuff. And one guy was quite interesting. One guy was saying something different from the others, and was just in a quiet kind of confident way was showing us the numbers that he had on his Spotify for artists. So he was just, it was nice. It was full disclosure, a guy in America explaining a different approach, and being frank enough about showing us the kind of numbers that he'd been achieving through this different approach. Now, his name is Andrew Southworth. I would recommend you go and have a look at his videos because he's really interesting. And as far as I can tell, at this stage, completely legitimate and just trying to do this in a different way. Basically, he was saying the Spotify marketing approach of trying to get onto playlists is not really very good in the long term. Basically, you might have a little spike of interest while your track is on a playlist, and as soon as it's off the playlist, it goes to sleep. It can burst into life. It's on some playlists. That's great. Sometimes what you're doing with the marketing companies is paying them to invite curators, to do this legally. You're not paying to be on a playlist. You're paying to invite a curator of a playlist to see if they like you and want to have your track on their playlist. There is a sort of technical difference there, which is quite important. Andrew Southworth, however, was saying, in the long run, this doesn't really win you fans. It doesn't win you long-term fans who like you and want to know what your next release is. Basically, they might just passively listen to your track on a playlist. They don't care about you. As soon as your track is on the playlist, you're back to zero again. And I guess that is what I've been finding over and over, is it's hard to get something to stick. Every now and again, something is an exception, and I can see over a long, long term, it's just getting played every day. And so something like Night Owl, which is my top Spotify song, that just gets streamed every single day. And maybe it's streamed because it's the top Spotify song. So anyone who comes to have a look at my output on Spotify, they might be curious and want to go to the one that looks like the most popular. And there's a bunch of them, maybe 4 or 5, that do seem to get streamed every day. At the moment, it's that one. It's Water on the Moon. It's I Think I Love You, Open Mic. There's a little handful. I expect to see them every day, and they're often there. And some latest singles, of course. But it's a lot of them just have their moment, and then they're dormant, so to speak. Now, what Andrew Southworth has been saying for obviously a little while on YouTube is there's a different way of advertising. In fact, through Facebook, and I think maybe through TikTok, but certainly through Facebook and Instagram, a way of being able to kind of really focus in on an audience, a little bit through trial and error, to find an audience somewhere of some profile, of some, whatever that profile is it, what age group they are, what gender, what country they might be in, and it's people who like this artist might like you, etc. But to do that kind of work, to be able to kind of zoom in on people who might actually like your stuff and are excited to find you, and therefore become real fans who therefore stay with you and are interested in the next track, and you can actually build up a real audience. So I was really interested in this, and then towards the end of one of his videos, he said, we're now kind of taking clients. So now basically, instead of just explaining this to you and thinking, well, that's interesting, he's got a little, group of people together who are helping to do this for others. So a few weeks ago, I sent a nice email and a track off to the address given. I got a holding email saying, we've been a bit inundated and we'll try and get back to you in 48 hours and we'll let you know. And I kind of thought, okay, I know how this goes. If he's been inundated, then, particularly with America, sometimes I just think, maybe my stuff doesn't translate particularly well. Maybe it's too English. Maybe it's too weird. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe, you know how that works. Down into the kind of the cycle of despond, where you just think, oh well, it's never going to work. My life is over. And on this occasion, I got an email back saying, yeah, yes, we'd like to work with you. We could see some value in working with your type of music. Now, two things I want to say straight away. One is, right from the beginning, they were good enough to say, there is a cost involved. We need to tell you right now there is a cost, and the cost is not insignificant. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much I'm spending, but let's put it like this: it's more than I have ever spent before on my music. It's more than £1,000, okay, and less than 5 million. Actually, quite a lot less than 5 million, but a bit more than 1,000. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So that's really important. The other thing was, I suddenly had a bit of a panic, thinking, "Hang on, let's not do this immediately because I'm just finishing this batch of songs that is five, the album five, and then I'm moving on to a new batch of songs that actually, and this is really important, the new batch of songs sounds to me different from what I've done before. It sounds to me more confident. It sounds bigger, better, stronger, better produced. I think I'm really excited about whatever it is that's going to be six. It's not going to be called six, I promise, but the next set of singles and the next album. So in a way, I thought this is brilliant timing, but not just this second. Hold on a moment. So I wrote a kind of email back saying, "Oh, I'm delighted, but can you give me 6 weeks, a month, 6 weeks or something, to save up my piggy bank, and B, because actually, wouldn't it be better to kind of start afresh with a new batch of songs I'm really much more excited about?" Now, look, I love Five. I'm not trying to diss Five in any way, but there is a difference in my mind between that and the next lot, and I don't know why it is, but maybe it's just time and experience, but something seems to have clicked in the next batch of songs. And this is really interesting because I think this is a moment for me to kind of put my money where my mouth is. And I think a few years back, say if I was back on 12 Colours or the second album, Baby Boomer, I would have been prepared to put a little bit of money where my mouth is. And maybe my mouth's got bigger, but I think I'm more confident about raising that sum, taking a bigger risk to try and find that audience with the next batch of songs because I think they're better. So that's really important. So anyway, look, they were good enough to say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I sent them some new tracks. They said, yeah, we like that, which was good. Okay, that's quite important. And it forced me to kind of look at all of the next tracks that will be the next album to make sure they were really ready to go, kind of mixed and mastered, and with cover art thought about. So I had to suddenly think about what is the overall theme of the next album? What's the kickoff single? What's the album title? What does it look like? And go through all of that process really quite quickly, and I have done. So I am going to not. I'm not going to play you any of the music yet, because actually, what I will tell you is the first single from the next album, which I will talk about more as we get nearer to it, will come out on the 21st of July. So we're 5 weeks away from that now. So that will be out on the 21st of July. That will herald the beginning of a new batch of songs with some new cover art and a new album title, and it's going to be the proper beginnings of me working with Andrew Southworth's organisation called Forbid Media. And if I can do it, you can do it. I know that not everybody has that kind of money. I'm really aware of that. I know there's a cost of living crisis. I know it's tough. But I guess I reached a point where I thought, I can't do this forever, just pootling along. And I guess this is a way of me finding out if there is an audience for what I do on a slightly bigger scale than I've so far found, or if in fact, however lovely I think my songs are, maybe there isn't. So it's kind of, I feel like I might be heading for a bit of a make or break. And here we are. So, 5 albums in, 100 and whatever it is, episodes of Adventures in Pop, and we're getting to something that feels quite critical. So that's it. That's where I'm going to leave it today. Do stay with me. I will share with you how it all goes, because I promised to do that from the outset. And if I don't, what's the point? Huh? Have a lovely summery weekend wherever you are. It is rather gorgeous here in the UK. And I will catch you very, very soon. Take it easy. Mwah. Bye.